Greg Wims, the host of Montgomery Matters. Today we have a very special guest, Senator Nancy King, who's the state senator for District 39 in the Montgomery Village, Gaithersburg area. So welcome to the show, Nancy.
Thanks, Greg.
Very glad to have you.
Glad to be here.
Yeah. First, before we get into your duties at the State Senate, I wanted to ask you a little bit about your background, how you got to where you are now.
Well, I'm not one of those politicians that has dreamed of being in elected office for my whole life. I tell people I'm a grassroots senator. I started out in the Xerox room at Stedwick Elementary School, and I was a PTA president, did all the different volunteer jobs for that. And then I became a cluster coordinator, and then I became the county PTA president. And at that time, there was a seat that opened up on the school board, so I ran for that. And so I was on the Montgomery County School Board for 8 years. And then a seat opened up in the legislature, so I ran for the House of Delegates in 2002. So I was there from 2003 till 2007. And then P.J. Hogan was the senator at the time, and he stepped down to take a job in the private sector. And so the governor appointed me, and I ran after that, and here I am, still there, 12 years later.
As a state senator, it's been
Yes.
12 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Time really flies. I remember when you first started.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to talk about the Senate, but I want to go back to the school board.
Yes.
And that's where I think I knew you before
Yeah,
then.
I think
but
I've known you since then,
yeah.
absolutely.
What were some of the, I guess, the major issues at the time that you were on the school board?
Major issues, well, I think it was accountability, and it was, we were just starting to get to the point where we were opening things up so that the public could actually see what was happening, how the budget worked. They've come a long way since I was on the school board as far as everything is out there for the public to see. You know, with the internet, you can see a lot more than you ever could see before. So the school board's come a long way with that.
And then when you were in the House of Delegates, what committees did you serve on?
I was on the Ways and Means Committee then, and I was the chair of the Education Subcommittee for that. And I've always had kind of the education. It's been where my heart is, so I've been following those issues all along.
Okay, and now this what brings, I asked it specifically because I wanted to talk about your role now, a very important role in the Senate. And so let's talk about education and first, school spending as it relates to Montgomery County.
Well, school spending, I think probably, and this year is going to be a big year for us to bring something home for Montgomery County. School construction is probably, the school construction money is probably the biggest issue that we've faced in a really long time. For the last maybe 6 years, we've had about 2,500 more kids each year than we had the year before. This year we had 2,800 more kids. And we're not building schools fast enough to keep up with that growth at all. So it's going to have to be a plan. It'll have to be some kind of a formula. We haven't quite figured out how that is. But I think the advantage that we're working with this year that we haven't had in the last several years is that we're really working hard to work with the county council and with the school board and with the county executive to come up with a plan together so that we go to Annapolis with a unified request for what Montgomery County needs to have. And the problem that I see with that is we need school construction money so badly. I mean, 2,800 kids growth in 1 year is like some counties' whole school system. But other parts of the state have smaller school systems, but it's just their need is as great. It's just a smaller version of what we have. So it's very, very hard to try and spread that school construction money around. So we'll have to come up with some kind of a formula, I think, in order to get it done. But it's going to take buy-in from the whole state, really. We can't just go over there and beat everybody over the head and take the money and run. It just won't happen. We've really got to get buy-in from the whole state to look at the whole problem.